Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're turning this into a fully interactive workshop. We're going to build professional reading and profiling skills right from the ground up. Whether you're prepping for a massive interview, brushing up that resume, or just kind of trying to figure out your next big career move, knowing exactly how to profile yourself and how to read the profiles of highly successful people is literally a game changer. So grab a mental notepad and bring that enthusiastic energy. We're going to be doing a lot of reading aloud together and answering some rapid-fire questions, so get ready to jump right in.
Here's the quick rundown for today's Explainer. We've got identifying your job objectives, reading a profile on Bill Gates, answering comprehension questions, sorting workplace vocabulary, mastering workplace questions, and capping it all off with the successful profile.
Section 1. Identifying your job objectives. Let's dive right into our first warm-up.
Okay, so before you can profile yourself for an employer, you kind of have to know what you actually want, right? Let's check out this quick role play between two friends, Salman and Amir. They're just wrapping up college and hunting for jobs. I'll read this aloud, and I want you to listen to how completely different their goals are. Salman says, final year of college is almost getting over, and I am so confused about life. I don't know what kind of job I want. What about you? Amir, on the other hand, is super confident. He says, I know that I want a job with a decent salary. Salman pushes him, but you must having some job objectives. To which Amir just replies, my objectives are very simple. I want security of service and an opportunity to do well in life. Salman pushes back again, but everyone tells me one should have long-term as well as short-term goals. Have you thought about that? Now look at that stark contrast. On the left, Salman is representing that totally relatable feeling of just being confused and overthinking the whole long-term versus short-term thing. But over on the right, Amir is laser-focused on the practical stuff: salary, security, opportunity. As we go through today, I want you to ask yourself, are you leaning more towards Salman or Amir right now?
Section 2. Reading profile Bill Gates. All right, now that we're properly warmed up, we're jumping into our main reading activity. I'm going to read a profile of one of the most famous guys on the planet, Bill Gates. I need you to listen extremely closely here. Lock in on the dates, the facts, the personal details, because I'm going to be testing your memory with some comprehension questions right after this. Ready? Okay. Born on October 28, 1955, Gates grew up in Seattle with his two sisters. He went to a public elementary school and then the private Lakeside School, and it was there, at just 13 years old, that he discovered this huge interest in software programming. Fast forward to 1973, he enters Harvard University as a freshman, where he actually developed a version of the programming language BASIC. But by his junior year, he drops out to pour all his energy into Microsoft, the company he had just started in 1975 with his childhood friend, Paul Allen. Their whole vision for personal computing became the absolute core of Microsoft's success. Skipping ahead a bit, in 1999, Gates wrote the book Business at the Speed of Thought, which showed how computer tech could solve business problems in totally new ways.
But let's expand our view a bit, because we want the complete picture here, not just the software side. Philanthropy is massively important to him too. He and his wife actually endowed a foundation with more than $28.8 billion. Yeah, billion with a B, just to support global health and learning. And what about his downtime? Well, Gates is an avid reader, and he loves playing golf and bridge. Okay, take a mental snapshot of all of that. The timeline, the ages, that massive foundation, and those hobbies. Got it?
Section 3. Answering comprehension questions. Time for the challenge.
We are completely shifting the energy right now into a rapid-fire Q&A. I'm going to ask a question, and I want you to mentally shout out the answer before I show it. Let's see how sharp those listening skills are today. First question. Based on everything we literally just read, how would you formally summarize him? Who is William or Bill Gates? Take a second. Got your answer?
All right, here we go. He is the chairperson of Microsoft Corporation and a philanthropist interested in learning and health issues. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates a key point. A professional profile isn't just your job title. It's this unique combination of your corporate role and your broader life passions, like global health.
Okay, moving on to question 2. Let's test that timeline memory. Just complete this sentence for me. He started showing interest in computers when?
When he was 13 years old. Honestly, excellent job if you managed to remember that exact age. It feels like a tiny detail, but when you're profiling someone, spotting the precise moment a lifelong passion kicks off is absolutely crucial to understanding their trajectory.
All right, final comprehension question. Let's pivot to the personal side of things. What are the things Gates likes to do in his leisure time?
The answer is reading, playing golf, and bridge. Now you might be wondering, why do we even care about hobbies in a professional workshop?
Well, because hiring managers and future business partners want to know the whole human. These little details, they build a complete relatable profile of a person so you don't just sound like a corporate robot.
Section 4. Sorting workplace vocabulary. You crushed the reading comprehension. Let's pivot slightly. Let's step away from Bill Gates for a second and focus entirely on you. To really succeed in the workplace, you need specific qualities and you need the right words to describe them. Check out this word bank we pulled from our source material. We've got traits like team leader, soft-spoken, disciplined, friendly, hardworking, creative, punctual, motivator, open-minded, receptive to new ideas. The list goes on. Read through these with me. Which of these totally sound like you? And more importantly, if you were building a profile, how would you organize them? Now, what's incredibly helpful here is how we can take that giant, chaotic word bank and organize it into 3 really clean buckets: personal, social, and professional. So under personal, these are traits about self-management, like being punctual, creative, or disciplined. Then under social, we're looking at how you vibe with others, so being friendly, approachable, and open-minded. Finally, under professional, these are your applied on-the-job skills. Stuff like being a team leader, being able to meet deadlines, and conflict resolution. When you actually sit down to write your own profile, you've got to pull from all 3 of these columns to prove you're a fully balanced candidate.
Section 5. Mastering workplace questions. Because reading a profile is only half the battle.
Right, so in any workplace, you're going to need to ask questions to learn about people. Knowing the mechanics of asking about someone's profile is super important. So let's do a really quick practical dive into making WH questions. Check this out. One of the absolute easiest ways to form a question is just flipping the subject and the verb. On the left, we have the statement, Bill Gates is the chairman. The subject is Bill Gates, the verb is. Now look at the right. By just reversing those 2 words, boom, you instantly have a question. Is Bill Gates the chairman? I know it sounds super basic, but mastering this split-second mental flip is exactly what makes you sound fluent and incredibly confident during those high-stakes interviews.
Okay, here's the second big rule. Sometimes you literally can't just reverse the words. Instead, you have to throw a do, does, or did right in front of the subject. Look at the statement on the left. Plants grow quickly. To flip that into a question, we just add do right at the front. Do plants grow quickly? It's that simple. We use do and does for things happening right now and did for the past. Whether you're asking a coworker, did the project launch? Or do you have experience with this software? These tiny little helper verbs are your best friends for pulling information out of people.
Section 6. The successful profile. All right, let's bring it all together.
We've done the reading, we've sorted the vocabulary, and we've nailed the grammar. Now it's time for our final case study to sum up everything we've talked about today. Let's look at this rapid-fire profile of Narayan Murthy. He's the retired chairman of Infosys, which is this massive global tech company. Look at this incredibly varied mix of qualities. He creates a culture of discipline. That's an amazing professional leadership trait. He has an eye for perfection, pure personal work ethic. He listens to others patiently, a top-tier social trait. And honestly, my favorite part, he believes in simplicity. Despite his unbelievable wealth, the guy lives in a standard 3-bedroom house. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. Real professional success isn't just about your paycheck or a fancy job title. It is all about building this holistic identity where your personal values, your social grace, and your professional drive all perfectly lock together.
And that actually brings us to the end of our explainer. But I'm leaving you with one final big question. I want you to think back to Salman and Amir from the beginning. Think about Bill Gates. Think about Narayan Murthy. If someone were sitting right next to you, right now, reading your professional profile out loud, what defining qualities would they discover? Are you totally punctual? Are you the team leader? Maybe the patient listener? I want you to take all the vocabulary and the tools we practiced today and go craft a profile you can truly be proud of. Keep learning, keep showing the world your value, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.